Tonight on NewsVision, it's Israeli Culture Week here on campus. We will tell you what activities happened so far, and we will take you to the event that's taking place as we speak.
I pulled my leg and tried to run.
Plus, there's more in the air than just tunes in the Frost School of Music. We will share the results of an investigation that our reporter Harvey Duplock conducted.
And I know that they might be concerned about Foster. And I know this, we make sure every day that fosters a healthy environment.
And later on, we will take you to one establishment that gives you a chance to feel like a Barbie right here in Miami.
It's everything I wanted it to be.
These stories and a lot more on tonight's episode of NewsVision. It starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of NewsVision. I'm Regina Potenza.
And I'm Manny Nacarado. Thank you for joining us.
It has been 6 months since the deadly terrorism attack that Hamas launched on Israel, which led to a war. Tens of thousands of people have died, and some 2 million Palestinians have fled their homes in Gaza. Those who are still there are experiencing a severe humanitarian crisis. Earlier this week, an Israeli airstrike killed 7 humanitarian workers in Gaza. Now the Biden administration has increased pressure on Israel to protect civilians in Gaza.
Strikes on humanitarian workers and the overall humanitarian situation in Gaza are unacceptable.
President Biden has asked Israel to announce and implement a series of specific and measurable steps to address civilian harm, humanitarian suffering, and the safety of aid workers in Gaza.
Here at the University of Miami, this week has been dedicated to celebrating Israeli culture, and the Jewish campus organization Hillel has been hosting events every day. Taryn Jacobs is live at Hillel to tell us more about those events. Taryn, what's going on tonight?
Manny, I'm here at Hillel, and tonight it is Israeli Culture Night. The Braidman Miller Center is hosting an event where students can get a taste of Israeli food and drinks such as hummus, falafel, and prigat, which is an Israeli juice. They can experience shuks, which are popular food markets in Israel with fresh produce, and through activities like pin making, graffiti making, and board games, students can learn a little bit about the city of Tel Aviv. Now, the purpose of tonight's event is to highlight the beauty of Israel and all that there is to celebrate in the country's culture despite the ongoing war. Israel Culture Week started on Monday with a visit from survivors of the October 7th attack on Israel, and I got the chance to attend the event. Take a look. October 7th, 2023. Thousands of people gather for a fun rave called Nova Music Festival at the desert in southern Israel. 26-year-old photographer Shai Klein-Weinstein is one of them.
I grab a film camera and I start walking around on and off throughout the night, meeting people, making new friends, taking photos, and enjoying myself in my own way.
But as the crowd dances into the dawn, the event turns deadly. The festival is one of the first targets of the Palestinian extremist organization Hamas that attacked Israel on that day. More than 360 festival attendees are killed and dozens are taken hostage. The ones who survive are doing what they can to make sure the victims of that day are not forgotten.
I want to make sure that I can share all of these photos with as many people as possible so people like yourselves know their names and who they are.
Shai is one of 3 survivors of the October 7th attacks who were invited to share their stories at the University of Miami.
And my hobby is running. I discovered a passion for it 4 years ago during the COVID-19 period. And I participated in numerous races, often alongside my mother. I ran 21 kilometers, it's half marathons. And I had hoped to run my full marathon this year. But certainly this dream seems irrelevant.
While trying to escape the Hamas attackers, Or was shot in the leg. And after trying to text friends for help, she realized she was on her own.
I tried to run. I pulled my leg and tried to run. And after that, I'm continue running and hid behind the bush. And over and over again.
Or eventually made it to the hospital where she had surgery that saved her leg. But her life is forever changed, as are the lives of the other survivors.
We were at this music festival with other people our age, having fun and enjoying themselves. And then other people, also our age, came at us with Kalashnikovs, RPGs, and happily with smiles on their face, brutalized us, raped us, set us on fire.
Now tonight's event started just a few minutes ago at 7, but it will be going on until 9 p.m., so make sure you stop by and immerse yourself in a new culture. Israel Culture Week ends tomorrow night with a Shabbat service at 6:15 and dinner at 7. Reporting live for UMTV, I'm Taryn Jacobs.
Thank you, Taryn. And UM students also had a chance this week to screen Amazon Prime's original docuseries called The Devil's Confession at the Crossford Cinema on campus. The series focused on the war crimes committed by Adolf Eichmann, who was a key figure in orchestrating the Holocaust.
By presenting this material, hopefully that will reach more people and instill in us a sense of justice and bring forth that which is evil and bring it to justice, which ultimately they did.
The Devil's Confession is available to watch on Amazon Prime with a paid subscription, but you can watch movies and series for free at the Crossford Cinema on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Today, April 4th, marks 56 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. And tonight, a memorial service for Dr. King is being held here in Miami. Lead reporter Billy Brightman is live outside the Adrian Arts Center in downtown Miami where the ceremony is taking place. Billy, what's going on?
Regina, tonight is the 19th annual Reclaim the Dream Candlelight Memorial and Gospel Concert to honor the late civil rights activist. The event started at exactly 6:01 p.m., mirroring the exact time Dr. King was shot 56 years ago. The Martin Luther King Economic Development Corporation partnered with City of Miami Chairwoman and District 5 Commissioner Christine King and Miami-Dade County Commissioner Keon Hardiman. The idea behind the event is to remind people of Dr. King's vision for justice and equality and to remind them to continue on his legacy. After the candlelight vigil, there's going to be a gospel concert featuring award-winning artists such as Tamala Mann and Lisa Michelle. And then after that, they want everyone to remember to, quote, reignite the flame for a brighter future. Live outside the Adrian Arts Center, Billy Brightman, UMTV.
Thank you, Billy. This morning, co-president and director of the New York Stock Exchange traded Heiko Corporation, Eric Mendelson, visited UM's business school to give students some tips about how to be effective leaders. Mendelson's company is known as the world's largest independent designer and manufacturer of FAA commercial aircraft replacement parts. Instead of employees, he referred to employed individuals of his company as team members, and this appealed to the students in the audience.
He put it pretty perfectly. He said the most important lesson he learned was to be open and honest, especially running a company. I feel like that's something that most people could use in their everyday lives as well as in business.
In addition to these qualities, Eric Mendelson also told students that instinct motivation is another important way of encouraging team members.
And a short walk from the UM Business School is the Frost School of Music, where many UM students have been worried about their grades and going to class. Frost students also have to worry about germs, bacteria, and their overall health because of one specific building. Harvey Duplock investigated the situation.
You walk in and you're hit with mold. You can see it in the carpets. There's specks of mold in the carpets. You can see it in the walls, and you can see it on the air conditionings.
Mold has been a hot topic of discussion among students at the University of Miami Frost School of Music for months. Many say they have seen mold in the birth of Foster Memorial Building. It was built in 1961 and has some 60 practice rooms for more than 700 students.
And I know that they might be concerned about Foster. And I know this, we make sure every day that fosters a healthy environment.
According to the CDC, mold grows in places with a lot of moisture and grows well on materials like carpet. Every practice room in the Foster building has its own air conditioning unit, is covered in head-to-toe carpeting for noise insulation, and the first floor of the practice hall flooded last year. And some students say they are affected.
Anytime I come out of there from singing there for a long period of time, my chest feels super heavy. I'm sneezing, blowing my nose just from being in there.
The CDC says mold may cause a variety of health issues, such as stuffy nose, wheezing, red or itchy eyes and skin, or even fever and shortness of breath, which is not ideal for musicians who have to constantly use their lungs and vocal cords. The practice rooms are definitely outdated and there is a distinct smell in there and some suspicious stains, but we couldn't identify any mold, so we went back with a bacteria growth kit and we're going to see if there truly is a lot of mold and bacteria growing in there. We took samples of a strange substance by the air vent, the actual air vent, piano keys and a door handle. The results showed that the practice room door handle has 0 bacteria and the piano keys have very minimal bacteria growth. However, the gunk leaking out of the air vent is completely covered in bacteria and even has some mold forming. But worst of all, the actual air vent had some bacteria but is covered in mold. That's what all that white fluffy stuff is. So with this much mold forming, have they done anything to clean up the building?
They have not. The issue is that it is a historic building. It's deemed a historic building. It cannot be torn down because it is regulated by the state.
Except it's not historic. Dean Berg says the status is in limbo, and that's part of why no major changes have been made just yet.
Nobody wants to spend many $1 million for a total renovation of a building that you might be tearing down. So what we do is the very, very best job we can with maintaining the building.
To help control the germs, the school put updated air conditioning units in some of the rooms. Students can also practice outside, in empty classrooms or in teachers' offices when available, if they don't feel safe in the practice rooms. But they should know they're not the only ones wanting change.
I'll be happy when Foster is finally renovated. But in the meantime, students should report anything to us that they feel is an issue, because things do happen in older buildings, and they should know that we're on this every day. We're not going to allow them to be in an environment that's not healthy for them.
For UMTV, I'm Harvey Duplock.
The University of Miami medical students welcome a special guest at this year's edition of their annual anatomy fashion show on Monday. It was hosted by UM's medical fraternity called Phi Delta Epsilon. The special guest was a celebrity doctor and social media personality known as Dr. Miami. He helped judge models of different body systems that students painted on themselves. Though attendees could pay to vote for their favorites, the main goal was to earn the favor of the doctor.
And we have models that are painted the human body systems, and it's a whole fashion show. And this year's theme is The Bachelor. So the real question is, who's going to receive the final rose tonight?
All proceeds from the ticket sales, votes, and raffles for the fashion show were donated to Nicholas Children's Hospital here in Miami.
Next Monday, many across North America will get to witness a total solar eclipse. This occurs when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, blocking out the sunlight.
So the question is, are we going to see it here in Miami? Weather forecaster Quinn Davidson joins us now to tell us more.
We won't have a full eclipse here in Miami, but we will have between 40 and 60% here in South Florida as that eclipse does make its way across the country on Monday. If you do want to be in that bullseye zone, this is where you're going to have to look. We have Austin, Texas, Waco, and Dallas. If you're in these areas of Texas, that is where you're going to be seeing that total eclipse. Moving into areas of Arkansas and Missouri, pushing into Illinois and Indiana, it slowly treks its way all the way into the northeast, where we're going to be seeing it head over the Great Lake region all the way through upstate New York, Vermont, and even up into Maine. We got Danforth, Caribou up there. It's going to be a very, very wonderful experience, and it is not going to happen again for 20 years. So if you can see it, go check it out.
Thank you, Quinn. Well, I wish the eclipse passed over Miami. I would have loved to experience an eclipse and not have to wait 20 years until the next one. But until that date comes, it's time for a short break. When NewsVision returns, we'll introduce to you one South Florida father and son duo who have taken their bond to the next level. We'll be right back.
It's important to get a flu shot. each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
By this time next year, Florida could be one of the most lenient states for abortion or one of the most strictest. The High Court is letting voters decide which. Two new court rulings from the court lay out diverging paths for abortion in the state. One lets a 6-week ban take effect May 1st. 6 weeks is before most people know they're pregnant. The other ruling lets voters override that law with a ballot measure this November. If it gets adopted, then it would enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution.
Officials in Maryland have honored the divers who responded to the deadly Baltimore Key Bridge collapse last week. The Prince George's County Special Operations Division's Marines Unit underwater recovery team were recognized for their efforts. Their participation in search and rescue operations at the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse site were critical. The divers worked in virtual darkness in the hazardous tangle of twisted metal and debris in the Patapsco River. Even when lit, their view was like driving through heavy snowfall in the dark with high beam headlights on.
Parts of the Midwest have been pummeled this week with severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, flooding, and even snow. The extreme weather has affected some 75 million people and has left thousands injured, homeless, or without power. In Maine and New Hampshire, April showers have been replaced with snowstorms, and Pennsylvania and surrounding states are facing flooding after severe thunderstorms. The storms are expected to slow down, and officials are working to restore power as fast as they can. Well, Regina, I hope everyone in those states are staying safe and weathering the storms.
I agree, but for more information, it's time to check in with Quinn Davidson, who has an update on what the weather forecast looks like.
Quinn, what should we be expecting this weekend?
Manny, this weekend is going to be perfect. It's definitely a great chance to get outside. But first things first, hurricane season is just a few months away, but the Colorado State University released its initial forecast for the 2024 hurricane season, and it unfortunately is not looking too well. We have their forecast for 23 named storms. The average is 14, 11 of those to be hurricanes and 5 major hurricanes, so something to keep an eye on as we head into hurricane season. We had a front push off this morning. I'm sure you heard that thunder earlier in the day. It was very loud, very early morning. 76 here in Miami, 79 in Fort Lauderdale, and these winds are going to be cranking still. I know we saw a very breezy day yesterday with wind advisories in place. It won't be to that level, but it will be definitely breezy out there. And our temperatures for this week are looking stellar. We have temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s to be a beautiful week for all.
Thank you, Quinn. The beautiful weather and flat terrain in South Florida have made it a hub for people with disabilities. And as Flint Wolfson reports, one family wants to raise awareness to empower these individuals.
South Florida is a safe haven for those with recently acquired disabilities. The flat terrain, support communities, and infrastructure make life after a life-changing injury easier. But for Michael Saya, being physically disabled has always been a part of life.
They said he wouldn't talk, he wouldn't feed himself, he would just be immobile, and that was their recommendation. So when I left that hospital that day, I left with the mindset, well, Michael will be included in everything.
Born prematurely with cerebral palsy and severe brain damage, life isn't easy for Michael. Everything from using the restroom to standing upright presents a hurdle, but only if he allows it. Michael and his father Jim have traveled the world competing in endurance races, redefining barriers as opportunities to tackle life's challenges and inspiring others to do the same. An iron-willed competitor, Michael isn't satisfied with just one race. He wants to show others with different abilities that anything is possible, including reaching the pinnacle of his sport, one marathon at a time.
It's called 6-Star. The only one they're missing now, and it'll happen next year, is Tokyo. Tokyo will be the final 6th event, and they'll have this giant medal that's a recognized medal with 6 stars on it of all the 6 majors.
Despite the pair's nothing's impossible mentality, it's not all about the races. The father and son duo founded the nonprofit Special Compass with the mission of empowering people with different abilities and bettering the lives of others around them through inclusion and service to others.
The thing I like about running with Michael or running with an able or disabled person is that not only excite me or whoever's pushing them, but also inspire others. When you're doing a Miami half marathon and you got all people that want to quit around 9 miles and they see you passing them, it's kind of like inspiring them to finish. So there's a very inspirational movement that's happening with the Special Compass.
At 31 years old, Michael has done more than most people dream of doing in their lifetime. However, individuals with different abilities often live an isolated life. Their care takes priority over opportunities for developing relationships, and because of this, a sense of community is at the forefront of Special Compass's mission.
Usually their friends are not genuine friends, they're usually paid friends. And when I say paid friends, they're like caregivers. So, the average genuine friend that comes to visit someone like Michael is very rare. Our purpose is to create friendships. We want it to genuinely happen. So we pair those who are differently abled with able-bodied athletes. They get to connect. If it's a long event, they have a long conversation. If it's a short one, well, then maybe they'll get to see each other again at another event.
For the members of Special Compass, service to others through inclusion doesn't just better the lives of the differently abled. It affects everyone involved.
Knowing that how lucky I am, I'm able to get up and move around where someone else can't. So that definitely humbles me a little bit.
And when Michael came into my life, I made a decision that it's all about him being included, and I am perfectly fine with putting all of that aside.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Finn Wilson.
Coming up next on NewsVision, the Marlins have made history already in 2024, but not the way you might think. Find out how with sports after the break.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping, and I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is me? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Hello and welcome to sports. I'm Andrew Klein. Baseball is officially back and the Marlins are off to a not so great start. They took on the Angels last night, hoping to pick up their first win of the season. Let's head over to Lone Depot Park for the highlights. We'll get things started in the first inning. Taylor Ward shoots one into right. That will plate a run for the Angels. Ward, a great day. 3 hits in 5 at-bats, including a homer. Now it's Brandon Drury through the legs of the third baseman Vidal Brujan. 2 more runs come in to score. The Angels go up 4-0 early, but Miami not going away. Josh Bell lasers one into right center field for a base hit. Avisail Garcia comes in to score for Miami. It's a 4-1 game. Next Marlins hitter, that's Jake Berger on the ground to right. Call that some ground beef. Another run comes in to score for Miami. It's a 4-2 game, but the Angels relentless. Zach Neto deep to left center field. It won't get out, but it will plate all 3 runs. The Angels go up 9-2. One of Neto's 2 hits on the day. And to cap it all off, it's Taylor Ward one more time. I told you he homered. This is that homer deep to center field. The Angels go on to win it 10-2. The Marlins 0-7 to start the year. Worst start in franchise history and the worst start in Major League history since 2016 when the Minnesota Twins were 0-9. Now over to tennis, where Hurricanes men's tennis coach Alosha Pirich announced Tuesday that he would be stepping down after the conclusion of the 2024 season. Pirich has been with the Canes since 2016 after spending 5 seasons with Old Dominion University. In just his 2nd season here in Coral Gables, Pirich led the team to an NCAA team championship where the Canes defeated the University of North North Florida before ultimately falling in the second round. Pirich will now head to White Plains, New York after accepting a position as the Director of High Performance and Recruiting at Tennis Innovators Academy. We're still waiting to hear about who will replace Coach Pirich. And finally, Parkinson's is a disease that destroys your nerves, a lot of times causing uncontrollable trembling and making it hard to move. There's no cure, but patients are often prescribed exercise to minimize the side effects. Well, in Key Biscayne, not far from campus, Daryl Barnes found out one group who is fighting back in a unique way.
George Edelman walked into a new class at Key Biscayne Community Center about 2 years ago.
I started out and I thought, what the heck am I getting into, you know, because I had never heard of this.
Then 75-year-old Edelman had just signed up for a boxing class.
When you reach a certain age, you got to keep moving, otherwise, you know, you start falling apart.
This class is a part of a national training program called Rock Steady Boxing. It was created in 2017 to encourage people with Parkinson's to exercise. And here in Key Biscayne, you could say it's working.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is the highlight of the day.
Parkinson's is a disease that attacks your nerves. It typically causes tremors and makes it difficult for the person to move. Parkinson's has no cure, so exercise is often recommended as a way to combat the disease's side effects. But this group seems to enjoy another benefit of the class even more.
While the exercise can have a positive impact on your physical health, the participants told me that it's having fun with others that really heals their soul.
It's not about only the exercise, it's about the family, the energy.
And the people that you meet here, I think they're going to be friends for a long, long time.
It may be called a boxing class on paper, but it's evolved into much more than that. Playing other games, throwing parties, and more.
When you have a problem, like my tremor and all that, you feel like you're alone and, you know, you have nobody else. And when you come in here, you realize, oh, wow, you know what? There's a lot of people that have this issue, and it helps. It helps a lot. And you have fun.
Here's to having fun for years to come. Daryl Barnes, UMTV.
One movie Dreamland comes to life in Miami. We will take you there when NewsVision returns. Stay with us.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care can keep families together. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
In the artsy neighborhood of Wynwood in Miami, a touch of childhood nostalgia meets culinary innovation. A new pop-up cafe featuring Barbie is providing more for the city of Miami than just an immersive experience. Alyssa Beatty went out to check it out.
Barbie has officially opened her own cafe in the heart of Wynwood, Miami.
It's everything I wanted it to be.
Decked out in pink, palm trees, and Malibu vibes, the Malibu Barbie Cafe invites visitors to step into what feels like a real Barbie dream house.
You can take your pictures with like the cute little Barbie box.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Barbie Cafe without a Barbie-inspired menu.
They have this yummy orange sherbet float that has like inside of a little pink car.
All of the decorations and design of the cafe are based on a 1970s Malibu, California theme. And one activity in particular has a deeper impact: roller skating. In order for guests to participate in this activity, they must pay to skate. The money raised will then go towards a local Miami organization called Girls Incorporated.
It's actually a really great organization, so all of the proceeds go to the organization. So included in your ticket price, it doesn't necessarily include your skating. It's a minimum of $1 donation, up to as much as you want to donate.
Girls Incorporated of Greater Miami provides free after-school programs for girls in a pro-girl environment.
They're getting help with homework, they're getting help with life skills, they're getting help with learning how to invest in STEM and how to think creatively through different art projects.
And like Girls Incorporated, Barbie continues to inspire generations with her message of empowerment and imagination. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Alyssa Beatty.
You know, I wish there was a place where I could let out my inner Ken.
You definitely have the Kenergy, but that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on NewsVision.
We'll be right back, same time next week. Have a good night.